Hare Krishna. So yesterday we were at which verse number? 60 or 61? Okay. Joy. So we discussed how Narad Muni briefed Dhruv Maharaj about the process to follow Ashtanga Yoga, then meditating on the personal form of the Lord, then chanting the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, then meditating on the pastimes of the Lord. All these things it is instructed. And other things also, he should always control his mind and speech, be peaceful, chant the Mool mantra and offer through mind also, and with the book, he should not eat too much. All these things he instructed. Okay. So then, till 60 we have discussed, no? So what were the results of worship if you worships like this? 4, 8, 59, 60. So anyone who does engage in the devotional service of the Lord seriously and sincerely with his mind, words and body, and who is fixed in the activities of the prescribed devotional methods is blessed by the Lord according to his desire. If a devotee desires material religiosity, economic development, sense gratification or liberation from the material world, he is awarded these results. And we also discussed in the verse, the word bhav vardhana also comes. The Lord fulfills the desire of the devotees also, as well as the Lord gives ecstasy also. Bhav vardhana. Okay. Now, verse number 61 says, if one wants special mukti, vimukti, that means if one wants the love of God, then Narada Muni is telling one should directly engage in bhakti. Okay. Viraktascha indriya rato bhakti yogena bhuyasa tam nirantar bhavena bhajetadha vimuktaye. Yes. Translation, please.
If one is very serious about liberation, he must stick to the process of transcendental loving service, engaging 24 hours a day in the highest stage of ecstasy, and he must certainly be aloof from all activities of sense gratification.
So this is not normal mukti. Vimukti means specific mukti. That means the love of God. Okay, if one wants that, then one first thing is viraktascha indriya rato. One should be completely renounced from sense gratification. Then bhakti yogena bhuyasa. Bhuyasa, with great seriousness, one should perform bhakti yoga. Then tam nirantar bhavena, continuous 24 hours, no break. Bhavena, with some emotions like dasya bhav, sakya bhav, etc. Bhajet adha vimuktaye. For all achieving this love of God, one should engage in bhakti with seriousness, giving up sense gratification. Okay, this is what Prabhupada is also explaining. Okay, so Prabhupada is saying dharma, arth, kam, moksha is there, but from the moksha, this special mukti starts. Second paragraph. Here Dhruv Maharaj is advised that if he has no desire for sense gratification, then he should directly engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The path of apavarga or the liberation begins from the stage called moksha. In this word, the word vimukti for liberation is specially mentioned. If one wants to be happy within this material world, he may aspire to go to different planetary systems where there is higher standard of sense gratification. But the real moksha or liberation is performed without any such desire. This is explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay, that way. Next verse. Ityastuktam parikramya pranamya chanirabhnipabhrika yayo madhumanam punne haresh charana architam. Yes.
When Dhruva Maharaj, the son of the king, was thus advised by the great sage Narada, he circumambulated Narada, his spiritual master, and offered him respectful obeisances. Then he started for Madhuvan, which is always imprinted with the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna and which is therefore especially auspicious.
Yeah. So Vishnu Acharya Thakur is commenting, although in this day of Brahma, Krishna appeared after Dhruva, but still the Madhuvan was marked with the lotus footprints from the previous day of Lord's incarnation. Okay. Tapovanam gate tasmin pravishto antapuram munim arhita arhanako ragya sukhasina uvachatam. Yeah.
What is the he circumambulated the Narad Muni. So what is the real
Purpose,
behind that?
offering respect. When you do parikrama, it's offering respect.
ऐसा भी कुछ कि मेरा जो गोल है जिसके लिए मैं प्रयास करने जा रहा हूँ वो सब
No, 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 offering respect. We offer, we circumambulate Tulsi Maharani, it's offering respect.
मैं जानना चाह रहा हूँ कि what is the special difference between offering the obeisances as a respect and circumambulating the pure devotee or like that?
Yes. One way of, and whenever we, some elevated personalities, they will offer him obeisances also. Govardhan parikrama karte hain. Govardhan also is parikrama. It's a matter, it's kind of offering respects. Okay, पढ़िए आगे please.
After Dhruva
हाँ जी,
entered
बोलिए.
one forest
Yeah.
to execute devotional service, the great sage Narada thought it wise to go to the king to see how he was faring within the palace. When Narad Muni approached, the king received him properly, offering him due obeisances. After being seated comfortably, Narad began to speak.
Yes, Abhishek.
So, Prabhuji, पहले Narad Muni was talking about Narayan, and in this verse he is saying Bhajet Adha, directly must do. So here is talking of Krishna. In 61,
Yeah.
he said Bhajet Adha, and Prabhupada says Adha means directly worship. So the direct, और फिर 62 में लिखा है कि Krishna's footprints,
Yeah.
या बोल रहे हैं कि विश्वजी ठाकुर बोल रहे हैं पिछले कल्प से हैं.
हाँ.
So which means that now he is saying if for Vimukti worship Krishna is that.
Adha means directly means, I mean, there is no commentary directly means Krishna.
Directly Lord.
Directly Lord. That means no Ashtanga yoga, nothing. Just worship Krishna.
So Bhakti Yoga.
Bhakti yoga directly.
But Krishna तो नहीं है ना क्योंकि
हाँ.
62 में प्रभुपाद जी कृष्ण कह रहे हैं footprints of Krishna.
Obviously मधुवन में footprint of Krishna ही होंगे. नारायण के नहीं होंगे.
पिछले कल्प से भी.
Yeah, Krishna. Right. Okay. So Narad Muni went to Uttanpad. Okay. So this is very specialty of Narad Muni as a preacher. We see this trend in Bhagavatam many times. 6th canto, when he is preaching to the sons of Daksha, Haryasva and Shalyasva, after preaching to them, making them brahmacharis, Narad Muni goes to Daksha, his father also, their father also. Similarly, Prachetas, when he comes to know the Prachetas have gone for tapasya, Narad Muni goes to Prachin Bharishad. So as a preacher, when you're preaching to someone, we should take care of their parents also, how they are faring, you know. So he's taking care of his father also. So Narad Muni was very concerned that he must be feeling something bad, his son is not there. So let him go there and preach to him also. Okay, that's there.
Prabhuji, I have heard like much before that when a person takes vairagya,
Yeah,
then his father's heart breaks,
yeah.
and that vairagi has to like tolerate this, like I will be breaking my heart, father's heart. That is why Narad Muni is going to the father to console him,
Yeah, to console him, to also give him vairagya.
to also give him.
Yeah. To show him the right picture. You know, that way. So, yeah. Narad Rajanam kim dhyaya sirdirdam mukhana parishusyata kim vina rishyate kamo dharmo varthena sanyuta.
The great sage Narad inquired, My dear king, your face appears to be withering up, and you look like you have been thinking of something for a very long time. Why is that? Have you been hampered in following your path of religious rites, economic development, and sense gratification?
Yeah. Purport.
The four stages of advancement of human civilization are religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and for some, the stage of liberation. Narad Muni did not inquire from the king about his liberation, but only regarding the state management, which is meant for advancement of the three principles: religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification. Since those who engage in such activities are not interested in liberation, Narad did not inquire from the king about this. Liberation is meant for persons who have lost all interest in religious, ritualistic ceremonies, economic development, and sense gratification.
Yeah. So again, Narada Muni is teaching us what kind of question to be asked from what kind of persons. You know? Okay. So our Guru Maharaj also used to have this wonderful quality. So any person approaching him, Maharaj will ask him the question related to his field only. And sometimes people used to say, Maharaj used to know better than us from our field also. So that way we are able to relate. Similarly, when Vishwamitra went in the court of Dashrath Maharaj, so Dashrath Maharaj also asked him, how is your business of going, how is business of liberation going on? So seeing the person, we should ask the relevant questions. So Narada Muni is asking, how is your dharma, arth, kam? Not asking about liberation. Okay. Rajo uvacha sutome balako brahman strenan akurunatmanam niravasita panchavarsha sahamatra mahankavi. Read. 65, Prabhu.
The king replied, "O best of the Brahmins, I am very much addicted to my wife, and I am so fallen that I have abandoned all merciful behavior, even to my son, who is only 5 years old. I have banished him and his mother, even though he is a great soul and a great devotee."
Yeah. Okay. So you see, like we were discussing, if one is very a sincere devotee, following the sadhana nicely, so Krishna will give him the right kind of intelligence to respond in a most appropriate manner in any situation. Suniti did that. Suniti responded in a very appropriate manner. But King Uttanpad couldn't do that. So the best thing is we should respond in a proper manner. But if you're not able to do that, the second best thing is, after realizing that, we should sincerely and genuinely repent. Okay. Sometimes we don't even respond properly and we don't repent also. So here Uttanpad is genuinely repenting. That, he banished his 5-year-old son also and he banished his wife also. So he is repenting that. Okay. So, purport.
In this verse, there are some specific words which are to be understood very carefully. The king said that since he was very much addicted to his wife, he had lost all his mercy. That is the result of becoming too affectionate towards women. The king had 2 wives. The first wife was Suniti and the second was Suruchi. He was too attached to second wife, however, so he could not behave well with Dhruva Maharaj. That was the cause of Dhruva leaving home to perform austerities. Although as a father, the king was affectionate towards his son, he minimized his affection for Dhruva Maharaj because he was too much attached to the second wife. Now he was repenting that both Dhruva Maharaj and his mother Suniti were practically banished. Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest, and since his mother was being neglected by the king, she was therefore almost banished also. The king repented, having banished his boy, for Dhruva was only 5 years old and his father should not banish his wife and children or neglect their maintenance. Repentant over his neglect of both Suniti and her son, he was false and his face appeared withered. According to Manusmriti, one should never desert his wife and children,
In a case where the wife and children are disobedient even for the principle of home life, they are sometimes given up. But in the case of Dhruv Maharaj, this was not applicable because Dhruva was very mannerly and obedient. However, he was a great devotee. Such a person is never to be neglected. Yet the king was obliged to banish him. Now he was very sorry.
Yeah. So he was accepting, I am Istrir, I was too much attached to Suruchi. Okay. Similarly, we saw Dashrath Maharaj. He also repented. You know, he was also too much attached to Kaikeyi. Okay. Api anatham ane brahman ma samadanti arbakam vraka shrantam shayanam kshuditam parimalan mukham bhujam.
My dear Brahmana, the face of my son was just like a lotus flower. I am thinking of his precarious condition. He is unprotected and he might be very hungry. He might have lain down somewhere in the forest and the wolves might have attacked him to eat his body.
Next.
67. Alas, just see how I was conquered by my wife. Just imagine my cruelty. Out of love and affection, the boy was trying to get up on my lap, but I didn't receive him, nor did I even pat him for a moment. Just imagine how hard-hearted.
So I was hard-hearted, I was very cruel, you know, I was attached to my wife, the child is unprotected, this is how all is revealing his mind, okay. Now Narad uvacha mama shucha swatanyama deva guptam vishampate tat prabhavam abhigyaya pravangte yadyasho jagat.
Great, says Narada replied, my dear king, please do not be aggrieved about your son. He is well protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although you have no actual information of his influence. His reputation is already spread all over the world.
Yes, prabhavam avigyaya, you don't know his prabhav. Parvangte yat yasha jagat, it is widespread all over the world, okay, purport.
Sometimes when we hear that great sages and devotees go to the forest and engage themselves in devotional service or meditation, we become surprised. How can one live in the forest and not be taken care of by anyone? But the answer given by great authority Narada Muni is that such persons are well protected by Supreme Personality of Godhead. Saranagati or surrender means acceptance or firm belief that whatever the surrendered soul lives, he is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is never alone or unprotected. Dhruva Maharaj's affectionate father, though
Thought.
his young boy, only 5-year-old, to be a very precarious position in general, but Narada Muni assured him, you do not have sufficient information about the influence of your son. Anyone who engages in devotional service anywhere within this universe is never unprotected.
Yes, very powerful line. Okay, that's all. हमें खाली भक्ति करनी है. Anyone, anywhere, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is never unprotected. Okay, so one should always try to change his inner environment and not try to change the external environment. Everyone in this world is trying to change the externals. That all the external environment should be as per my liking, and that's why we get frustrated also. We spoil relationships also. But we should just work on our inner consciousness. If we are surrendering to Krishna, externals will be taken care by Krishna only. Okay. So sometimes, yes, we are conditioned souls. We may have to influence the conditions. We may have to change the conditions sometimes. But one should not make too much efforts to change the conditions. One should make more efforts in changing his consciousness, changing his attitude. Accordingly, Lord will settle down everything. So Lord will always protect. Dhruva Maharaj, just imagine 5-year-old boy, all alone in the jungle. Genuine jungle, not retreat park or something like that. Security guards were there, everything was there. Jungle, proper 5-year-old boy, all alone. He was protected, and Lord gave him darshan also. Srila Prabhupada, all alone, in Bowery Street, old man, in winter of New York, he was all alone. Just imagine, all alone going on Jaldut. So Krishna always protects. So we should have this faith, and we should build up this faith. Rakshasiti Vishwas. Yeah? Yeah.
But when we read that book, I have not read full book, but Mohan Baba Prabhuji has given us some lecture. So he told that in the Moscow or where Russia, so the devotees were like very ill treated or like punished by the government of Russia.
Salted bread.
Salted bread. So why that at times Krishna is not given?
So what is the protection means? What is the protection by Krishna means?
Protection of faith, protection of bhakti.
Yes, that is a real wealth. Krishna may or may not protect our gross body. That depends on Krishna. If Krishna feels that to continue this gross body is okay for him, he'll protect it. But if Krishna has some higher plans, gross body is nothing. Changing the clothes, in Krishna's point of view, for us it is too much. A child only cries when the mother changes the clothes, child cries. So we cry when Krishna is changing our clothes. But for Krishna is nothing. Krishna is putting on better clothes. Okay. So protection means real protection is our consciousness, real protection is our bhakti. So even in those severe circumstances, Krishna protected their faith. They didn't become atheists. They didn't give up Krishna consciousness. Yoga kshema vahameham. Right?
Prabhu, then how can we understand that devotees fall down from their path? They astray for some time.
Yeah.
They have to come back, but they astray.
Yeah, that is also Krishna's way of protecting them.
How Prabhu I can understand this?
Just giving them a lesson. थोड़ा थप्पड़ मारा बस बीच में.
थप्पड़ मार रहे हैं.
Just to make him realize. Just to make him realize. Krishna is protecting always. A devotee never falls down. It appears he has fallen down for some time. But Krishna is so grateful. How can he forget that devotee? Until and unless he has done too many offenses, then Krishna will cover up his devotional service for a long time.
ये भी एक वीडियो भी आया था ना नीचे वो क्वेश्चन है एक अभी रिसेंटली वीडियो आया था वन डिवोटी इन यूक्रेन ही पास अवे
Okay.
you saw it ICC
I didn't see that.
he was a soldier in army Ukraine army so 39 years of age
Okay.
तो वॉर में so he left his body in December तो वहाँ पे वॉर फ्रंट पे बैठे हैं सब लोग तो someone is drinking smoking वो नरसिंह आरती गाते हैं हरिनाम का भी फोटो था but he passed away so externally he lost his body very young very wonderful devotee but
Yeah.
obviously Krishna will protect him
Yeah. Krishna will give him better facilities for advancing in Krishna consciousness. Okay.
The one who was doing Kirtan, he passed on.
I saw that video
I saw that.
But we are so much attached to our gross body, so we take we judge all the situations from this bodily concept of life.
But whatever examples you have given, so that is also, you said that Prabhupada.
Yeah, so Prabhupada protected and Prabhupada left his body also when Prabhupada wanted to leave, he left his body also.
Is like our consciousness.
Yeah, in his consciousness. Okay.
Faith in Krishna and devotees.
Yeah. Okay. So we should make all our efforts. Whenever situations are disturbing, we should always remember Krishna will protect me. I will never remain unprotected. Just increase my faith in Krishna, increase my faith in the process. That's all. Okay.
Then why do we pray like Maro bhi rakho bhi jata ichha?
Yeah, jo ichha tumhara. This
We
is
know
gross.
that Krishna will always be rakho bhi.
हाँ.
Nischay rakhibe Krishna.
हाँ.
Avashya rakhibe. Then we say
Maro
bhi
bhi means
rakho.
this gross body. If you want to destroy this gross body, destroy it, you maintain this gross body, maintain it.
So one is spiritual and one is
Yeah.
material plus.
For devotee, everything is spiritual. So you want to keep me in this body or you want to take away this body, but you keep me under your lotus feet. Yeah. So dushkaram karam kritva lokapalairapi prabhu eshyati achirato rajan yasho vipulayans tava.
My dear king, your son is very competent. He will perform activities which would be impossible even for the great kings and sages. Very soon he will complete his task and come back home. You should know that he will also spread your reputation all over the world.
Yes. So Prabhupada is writing last few lines. What was that task that Dhruv Maharaj undertook? The most difficult task in the life is to satisfy Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Dhruv Maharaj would be able to do that. We must remember that Dhruv Maharaj was not fickle. He was determined to execute his service and then come back. Every devotee, therefore, should be determined that in this life he will be able to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by that process, go back home, back to Godhead. That is the perfection of the highest mission of life. So every devotee, all of us, should have this determination. Okay? Dridvrata. Yatantascha dridvrata. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridvrata. So we have to be dridvrat, not grahavrat. Prahlad Maharaj says those who are grahavrat, they won't be able to understand Krishna. Matina parto Krishna matava mitha abhipet grahatvita nam. Adant gobi vishtotamistam punah punah charita charmana nam. Grahatvita nam. Those who are grahavrat, those who are determined to always working to satisfy themselves only, they are grahavat. But those who are always determined to satisfy Krishna, they are dridvrat. So we should develop this determination. So this pastime should help us to increase our determination in Krishna consciousness. Okay.
When we are doing any service,
Huh?
how do you know that Krishna is satisfied with the service?
When you are doing any service, how to know Krishna is satisfied? What Guru Maharaj used to give the answer. Frequently asked question. याद है किसी को गुरु महाराज क्या आंसर देते थे इसका?
Devotees around you satisfied.
Yes, authorities. And you can ask them. Ask your spiritual master, ask your authority. Take the feedback.
यहाँ पे ये भी लिखा हुआ है, the most difficult task in life is to satisfy the supreme personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
वहाँ पे तो हम कहते हैं कि कृष्ण अब वो है जो दोष नहीं देखते बल्कि क्या है?
अच्छा, yeah. Why? This is a good question. Why it is written? It is most difficult task.
सिर्फ गुण नहीं देखते हैं.
Yeah. सारग्राही हैं भगवान. Why it is written like this? Actually, to satisfy Krishna is the most easy. And to satisfy any conditioned soul in this material world is almost impossible.
एक पत्रम पुष्पम फल.
पत्र पुष्पम से भगवान तुष्ट हो जाते हैं. So most difficult इसके लिए है कि because people normally don't do that. It's not discussed, it's not taught also. Everywhere it is being taught, it is being propagated to satisfy our own senses. Everywhere it is being promoted like this.
Due to Kali
Due to everywhere, in material world, people are always self-centered. That's why we are in this material world. So that's why it's a difficult task to satisfy Krishna. But if we come in the process, it is the most easy thing to satisfy Krishna. Maitre vacha iti dev rishi nam proktam vishrutya jagati pati raja lakshmamim anadritya putram evan chintayat.
The great Maitreya continues. The king Uttanpad, after being advised by Narad Muni, practically gave up all duties in relation with his kingdom, which was very vast and wide, opulent like the goddess of fortune, and he simply began to think of his son Dhruva.
Okay.
There's a question. When we say that it's a difficult task for the non-devotees to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but it's easy enough for the devotees because they do the devotional service as per the scriptures. So that means here in the last line, Srila Prabhupada writes
Yeah.
So, meaning to say that all the devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness, they will be going back home.
Prabhupada will answer this in coming purports.
Prabhuji, why is it written that gave up all duties in relation to kingdom after being advised by Narad Muni?
After being advised, it's not that Narad Muni advised him to give up. No. It's that Narad Muni advised him about the Dhruv, but after hearing about from Narad Muni, he was just lamenting and gave up. Okay. Tatrabhishakta pratyascha tam uposhya vibhavarim samahita paryacharayad rishi adeshena purusham. बढ़िए माइक
Elsewhere, Dhruva Maharaj, having arrived at Madhumana, took his bath at the river Yamuna and observed fasting in the night with great care and attention. After that, as advised by the great sage Narada, he engaged himself in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Purport.
The significance of this particular verse is that Dhruva Maharaj acted exactly according to the advice of his spiritual master, the great sage Narada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti also advises that if you want to be successful enough, again to go back to Godhead, you must very seriously act according to the instruction of the spiritual master. That is the way of perfection. There need be no anxiety over attaining perfection because if one follows the instructions given by the spiritual master, is sure to attain perfection. Our only concern should be how to execute the order of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is expert in giving special instruction to each of his disciples, and if the disciple executes the order of the spiritual master, that is the way of his perfection.
Yes, we should not be bothered. So Bhurijan Prabhu writes in the book Unveiling Lotus Feet, we should give preference to process over the goal. We should not be given bothering. Goal mil jayega na. One said, Mataji was constantly nagging Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I will to go back to Godhead. Prabhupada, I will to go to Godhead. Prabhupada said, you just do your duty. I will do my own duty. That is the duty of Guru and Krishna, to take you back to Godhead. You do your own duty. So sometimes we are too much bothered. Milega ke nahi milega, Surup prapt hoga ke nahi hoga. No? Just do your duty, that's all. So, this process is our goal. Our goal is performing devotional service. That's all. Even if we go to Golok Dham, there also we perform devotional service. Nothing is going to change. So focus on the process. That's all. When Dhruv Maharaj, wonderful thing about Dhruv Maharaj was, although he started devotional service with an impure intention, but after being advised by Narad Muni, he was not fickle-minded. Prabhupada is writing. He was not doubting. या मरवा तो नहीं दिया, जंगल में आ गया, मिलेंगे नहीं मिलेंगे, कोई भी नहीं है आसपास, We have it in this situation, we have developed doubts. कोई भी नहीं है, all alone. क्या होगा? ब्रह्मा जी से ऊपर का पद मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, कहाँ चलेगा? गुरु महाराज दिखाई भी नहीं दे रहे, कोई भी नहीं, कोई फीडबैक भी नहीं आ रहा कि ठीक चल रहे हो, क्या चल रहा है, भाग के आया थे वहाँ से. But Dhruva was not fickle-minded. Whatever Narad Muni instructed, just strictly following the process, not bothered. That is us. So, when we are in this process, we should allow the process to work upon us. We are very fickle-minded.
How is this done?
Just,
Process work upon us.
just let the process, just follow the process sincerely. प्रभु जी जब कर रहे हैं, आंसू नहीं आ रहे, हृदय नहीं पिघल रहा, आनंद नहीं आ रहा. Just follow the process strictly, that's all. Don't worry about the results. As such, Krishna says, Karmanyavadhikarasya mafaleshu kadachana. So we don't do our duty properly and we expect the results. कर्म पे अधिकार नहीं है, फल पे पूरा दे. फल मुझे अपने हिसाब से चाहिए. So that is a very wonderful instructions. So that's all. We should just let the process work upon us. Like we are going for a surgery, a patient fully surrenders to the doctor. He's not, surgery कर रहे बीच में हाथ पैर हिलाना शुरू नहीं कर देता वो. ये क्या कर रहे हो, ये क्या कर रहे हो? No. So he is just anesthesia, fully surrendered. So that the surgery, he allows the surgeon to work upon him. So then he is cured. So similarly, when we have come to this wonderful process, we should allow the process to work upon us and just focus on the instructions and follow the process wholeheartedly. Right? So this is wonderful teaching we can take from Dhruva Maharaj's character. Okay, now we'll understand what kind of austerities he performed. Translation.
Prabhuji, the instructions we are following, but not wholeheartedly, as you said. So that few % of that instructions will work.
We should keep on trying our best, keep on improving. That's what we can do, and that's what we should do.
क्योंकि कई बार गुणों का प्रभाव होता है ना,
Yeah.
तो उस टाइम पे हम चलो अब कर ही लेते हैं यार, बाद में सोचेंगे क्या होगा.
गुणों का प्रभाव है, but we should keep on fighting. By taking shelter of Guru Sadhu Shastra, we have to overcome our conditioning. So we are trying.
And Prabhuji, the sadhana also, it's not always, though we try our best, it is not always the best. Sometimes we feel yes, it's going good, sometimes we feel it's going low. So how to come up on it, how to get the steadiness in that?
It will come after Nishtha. So, how to reach Nishtha? We have to follow the Anartha Nivritti very enthusiastically. So, during Anartha Nivritti, these symptoms will be there, up and down, up and down. But if you are trying to follow the instruction wholeheartedly, enthusiastically, then we will cross over this stage and reach Nishtha. Then after Nishtha, it will be steady progress.
The bhajan kriya becomes
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes, next, where's the mic?
For the first month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only fruits and berries on every third day, only to keep his body and soul together, and in this way he progressed in his worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So, it's very wonderful purport. Read the purport, Mataji.
Kapita is a flower that is known as Indian vernacular as a flower. We do not find an English equivalent for the name of this flower, but its fruit is generally not accepted by human beings. It is eaten by monkeys in the forest. Dhruva Maharaj, however, accepted such fruits, not for luxurious feasting, but just to keep his body and soul together. The body needs food, but a devotee should not accept foodstuff just to satisfy the tongue in sense gratification. It is recommended in Bhagavad Gita that one should accept as much food as necessary to keep the body fit, but one should not eat for luxury. Dhruva Maharaj is an acharya, and by undergoing severe austerities and penances, he teaches us how one should execute devotional service. We must carefully know the process of Dhruva Maharaj's service. How severely he passed his days will be shown in the later verses. We should always remember that to become a bona fide devotee of the Lord is not an easy task. But in this age, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, it has been made very easy. But if we do not follow even the liberal instructions of Lord Chaitanya, how can we expect to discharge our regular duties in devotional service?
Yeah, Prabhupada is so compassionate. Prabhupada made even more easy. Mahaprabhu made the process easy and Prabhupada made it even more easy. Just 16 rounds. Mahaprabhu used to say at least 64 rounds. Mahaprabhu used to say, I never accept Bhoga who is not Lakshpati. But Prabhupada said, no. Even 16 rounds also Mahaprabhu will accept by Prabhupada's mercy. It's such a liberal thing. So we should be very, very careful in following these instructions. Yes, continue, Mataji.
It is not possible in this age to follow Dhruva Maharaj in his austerity, but the principle must be followed. We should not disregard the regulative principles given by our spiritual master, for they make it easier for the conditioned souls.
So Prabhupada is saying in one place, so all the mercy of Guru Parampara is there in these instructions, following the principles, whole mercy of Guru Parampara is there. Whole strength is there. Getting up early in the morning, Mangalarti, 16 rounds, 4 regulative principles. The whole mercy of Guru Parampara is there. So just we follow this, we'll get all the results.
As far as our ISKCON movement is concerned, we simply ask that one observe the 4 prohibited rules, chant 16 rounds, and instead of indulging in luxurious eating for the return, simply accept the shard offered to the Lord. This does not mean that without fasting the Lord should also fast. The Lord should be given foodstuff which is as nice as possible. But we should not take it a point to satisfy our own life. As far as possible, we should accept simple foodstuff just to keep the body and soul together to execute devotional service.
Continue.
It is our duty to remember always that in comparison to Dhruv Maharaj, we are insignificant. We cannot do anything like what Dhruv Maharaj did for self-realization. But we are absolutely incompetent to execute such service. But by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we have been given all concession possible for this age. So at least we should always remember that neglect of our prescribed duties in devotional service will not make us successful in the mission we have undertaken. It is our duty to follow the footsteps of Dhruv Maharaj. For he was very determined. We should also be determined to finish our duties and executing devotional service in this life. We should not wait for another life to finish our job.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, next.
One question. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us like 64 rounds. So like it is to give the credit to Srila Prabhupada. He himself doesn't told to do 16 rounds. So why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us 64 rounds? Because nothing with 64 rounds. Anybody can perform any duties. Like after 8 hours of sadhana.
Yeah, maybe yes. Mahaprabhu maybe wanted to give more credit to Prabhupada. Yes, maybe. Yes, next.
In the second month, Dhruv Maharaj ate only every 6 days, and for this vegetables he took dry grass and leaves. Thus he continued his worship.
Next, third month.
In the third month, he drank water only every 9 days. Thus he remained completely in trance and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by selected verses.
Next.
In the fourth month, Dhruv Maharaj became a complete master of the breathing exercise, and thus he inhaled air only every 12th day. In this way, he became completely fixed in his position and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Fifth month.
By the fifth month, Maharaj, Dhruv, the son of the king, had controlled his breathing so perfectly that he was able to stand on only one leg, just as a follower stands without motion, and concentrated his mind fully on the Parabrahma.
Next.
He completely controlled his senses and their objects, and in this way he fixed his mind without diversion to anything else upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay. Now what happened after this? Adharam mahitadinam pradhana purusheshwara brahma dharmanasya trayo lokas chakampine.
When Dhruv Maharaj thus captured the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the refuge of the total material creation, and who is the master of all the realities, the 3 words began to tremble.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect, Mataji.
In this verse, the particular word Brahma is very significant. Brahman refers to one who not only is the greatest, but has the potential to expand to an unlimited extent. How is it possible for Dhruv Maharaj to capture Brahman within his heart? This question has been very nicely answered by Jiva Goswami. He says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the origin of Brahman, for since he comprises everything material and spiritual, There cannot be anything greater than He. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the Supreme Godhead says, I am the resting place of Brahman. Many persons, especially the Mayavadi philosophers, consider Brahman the biggest, all-expanding substance. But according to this verse and other Vedic literature such as Bhagavad Gita, the resting place of Brahman is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as the resting place of the sunshine is the sun glow. Srila Jiva Goswami therefore says that since the transcendental form of the Lord is the seed of all greatness, He is the Supreme Brahman. Since the Supreme Brahman was situated in the heart of Dhruv Maharaj, he became heavier than the heaviest, and therefore everything trembled in all the three worlds and in the spiritual world.
Yeah, so everyone was trembling, okay? Okay, and then in the second paragraph, 10 lines from the bottom, by associating constantly with the 10 lines from the bottom, by associating constantly with the Supreme Personality in his heart. Second paragraph.
By associating constantly with the Supreme Personality in his heart, Dhruv Maharaj naturally became equal to the greatest Brahman by his association, and thus became the heaviest, and the entire universe trembled. In conclusion, a person who always concentrates on the transcendental form of Krishna within his heart can very easily strike the whole world with wonder at his activities. This is the perfection of yoga performance.
So this is, we can find many similarities between Dhruv Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. You know? Both achieved impossible tasks. Dhruv Maharaj was too young, 5-year-old. Prabhupada was too old, 80 or 70 years old. You know? Dhruv Maharaj went to the forest, Prabhupada went to Powri street. Okay? So Dhruv Maharaj, by his, keeping the Lord within his heart, the whole universe trembled. Similarly, Prabhupada, just one man, he shook the whole world by his Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada is writing, out his own realization, Prabhupada is writing. In conclusion, a person who always concentrates on the transcendental form of Krishna within his heart can very easily strike the whole world with wonder at his activities. You must have seen that video, no? When Prabhupada landed in Boston, 17 September 1965. Saw that video? There was one lady was there, a devotee in Russia. So she was saying that this day Prabhupada landed. So I think her father or grandfather was there. She said 17 September 1965. Yes, this was a very crucial day. It was a very crucial day. Because at that time the Cold War was going on between US and Russia. And Russia was all set to launch a nuclear bomb on America. And on 17 September they were about to press the button. Everything was ready. But then the orders came, no, don't do that. Because Prabhupada landed in America. Prabhupada saved America. So, any pure devotee, one pure devotee can change the whole world. This is the power of a pure devotee. So just like Prabhupada, Dhruv Maharaj, by his austerity, the whole world, whole universe started trembling. 5-year-old boy. This is the power of Krishna consciousness. Yadekapaden saparthi arbhakas tathos tad angushta nipidit tamahi nanama tatra ardhamibhendra dhishtita tariva savye tarata pade pade.
As Dhruv Maharaj, the king's son, kept himself steadily standing on one leg, the pressure of his big toe pushed down half the earth. Just as an elephant being carried on a boat rocks the boat left and right with his every step.
Parpan Mataji.
The most significant expression in this verse is Parthivadbhat, son of the king. When Dhruv Maharaj was at home, although he was a king's son, he was prevented from getting on the lap of his father. But when he became advanced in self-realization or devotional service, by the pressure of his toe, he could push down the whole earth. There is a difference between ordinary consciousness and Krishna consciousness. In ordinary consciousness, a king's son may be refused something even by his father. But when the same person becomes fully Krishna conscious within his heart, he can push down the earth with the pressure of his toe. One cannot argue. How is it that Dhruv Maharaj, who was prevented from getting up on the lap of his father, could press down the whole earth? This argument is not very much appreciated by the learned, for it is an example of Nagna Mantra logic. By this logic, one would think that because his mother in her childhood was naked, she should remain naked even when she is grown up. The stepmother of Dhruv Maharaj might have been thinking in a similar way, since she had refused to allow him to get up on the lap of his father. How could Dhruv perform such wonderful activities as pressing down the whole earth? She must have been very surprised when she learned that Dhruv Maharaj, by concentrating constantly on the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, could press down the entire earth like an elephant who presses down the boat on which it is loaded.
Yeah, this is the power of following the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master. One can do miracles. So by the mercy of spiritual master, anything can happen. Okay. Tasmin abhidhyayati vishamatmano dvaram nirudasun ananyaya dhiya loka niruchvasa nipidita bhrisham salokapala sharanam yuyurharim.
And Dhruv Maharaj became practically one in heaviness with Lord Vishnu, the total consciousness, due to his fully concentrating and closing all the holes of his body. The total universal breathing became chopped up, and all the great demigods in all the planetary systems felt suffocated and thus took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is explaining, it's very difficult to understand how Dhruv Maharaj, by controlling his breathing, the whole planetary system, all demigods start feeling choking, feeling suffocated. So Prabhupada is giving a very scientific reason. Yeah. Read purport.
When hundreds of persons are sitting in an airplane, although they remain individual units, they each share in the total force of the airplane, which runs at thousands of miles per hour. Similarly, when unit energy is identified with the service of the total energy, that unit energy becomes as powerful as total energy. As explained in the previous verse, Dhruv Maharaj, because of his spiritual advancement, became almost a total heaviness, and thus he pressed down the whole earth. Moreover, by such spiritual power, his unit body became the total body of the universe. Thus, when he closed the holes of his unit body to firmly concentrate his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the units of the universe, namely all the living entities, including the big demigods, felt the pressure of suffocation, as if their breathing were being choked. Therefore, they all took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because they were perplexed as to what had happened. This example of Dhruv Maharaj closing the holes of his personal body and therefore closing the breathing holes of the total universe clearly indicate that a devotee, by his personal devotional service, can influence all the people of the whole world to become devotees of the Lord. If there is only one pure devotee in pure consciousness, pure Krishna consciousness, he can change the total consciousness of the world into Krishna consciousness. This is not very difficult to understand if we study the behavior of Dhruv Maharaj.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
the pushing earth, is it like the whole Bhumandal he was pushing?
What?
The whole Bhumandal, having all the lower planetary system. The whole Bhumandal disk he was pushing, or the earth disk he was pushing?
It is not mentioned. Yeah. So we can take Mother Earth only, this planet only.
But generally, by the whole Bhumandal is mentioned.
Not mentioned clearly.
Like in one of your lecture, you told the history of Prahlad Maharaj. Like in previous, Prahlad Maharaj do fasting on that.
Yeah.
So that Dhruv Maharaj also has some previous history because
It's not mentioned anywhere. I mean, I also had this question. He's asking Prahlad Maharaj's history that he fasted on auspicious day. So did Dhruv Maharaj also had some this history? Any Puran mentions? No Acharya mentions. I have not heard in any lecture. Okay. Deva Uchu. Yes, Prabhu.
I do not understand this logic, Nagna Matrika logic.
Nagana Matrika logic means sometimes we may see a very person, devotee, very new devotee, we may think a ordinary person, but he may do miracles afterwards.
Afterwards, he may do miracle.
So we may, because we understood we understood like an ordinary person, so we will not believe. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Saraswati Thakur also gave Nangu Panchu. There was a child in the village, he used to roam around naked, Panchu Panchu. Later on he went to the city, he became magistrate. Someone came, oh Panchu, magistrate. So no one went to, Panchu, Nangu Panchu. He became magistrate. No, I saw with my own eyes, he was sitting on the court, on the magistrate seat. Okay, he must be sitting there, he must be honorary magistrate, he may not be getting the salary. So we will not believe. That way, Nagan Matrak Nyaya.
Which is this yug?
Satyug. Yeah.
Prahlad Maharaj yug? Both are Satyug. But the process is different.
Different like?
Dhruv Maharaj process is yogic process also, Ashtanga yoga as well as chanting also and Achar Vidra also. But Dhruv Maharaj, we don't find him doing
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj, Ashtanga yoga.
Huh? But like Narada Muni told him everything. Narada Muni told him first you do Ashtanga Yoga, then meditate on the form, then do Archana, chant the mantra. And in 62nd verse we saw now, if you want direct devotional service, special vimukti, then perform Bhakti Yoga very seriously. Bhakti Yogi Bhoyasa, the word came.
Did Prahlad Maharaj follow this?
No, Prahlad Maharaj straightway followed Navda Bhakti.
But Dhruv Maharaj is not following that process, no, because he's standing on one leg and doing tapasya. He's not doing Archa, Vigraha.
He did everything.
He did before, then he...
Yes.
So these all are instructed by Narad Muni that one leg you stand and you do like
Must
that.
be.
Must be.
Yeah. Not his own speculation. Otherwise, how will get the results? Yeah. Okay. Nevam vidamo bhagavan prana rodham chara charasya khil sattva dhamna videhi tanno vrijnadi moksham prapta vayam tvam sharanam sharanyam. Yes.
The demigod said, Dear Lord, you are the refuge of all moving and non-moving living entities. We feel all living entities to be suffocating, their breathing process choked up. We have never experienced such a thing. Since you are the ultimate shelter of all surrendered souls, we have therefore approached you. Kindly save us from this danger.
Yeah, purport please.
Dhruv Maharaj's influence, attained by executing devotional service unto the Lord, was felt even by the demigods, who had never before experienced such a situation. Because of Dhruv Maharaj's controlling his breathing, the entire universal breathing process was choked. It is by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that material entities cannot breathe, whereas spiritual entities are able to breathe. Material entities are products of the Lord's external energy, whereas spiritual entities are products of the Lord's internal energy. The demigods approached the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the controller of both kinds of entities, in order to know why their breathing was choked. The Supreme Lord is the ultimate goal for the solution to all problems within this material world. In the spiritual world, there are no problems, but the material world is always problematic. Since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of both the material and the spiritual worlds, it is better to approach him in all problematic situations. Those who are devotees therefore have no problems in this material world. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, Chaitanya Chandramrit. Devotees are free from all problems because they are fully surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For a devotee, everything in this world is very pleasing because he knows how to use everything in the transcendental loving service of the Lord.
Jai, Jai, Jai. Okay. Okay, next translation, Prabhu, you read.
personality of Godhead replied, "My dear demigods, do not be perturbed by this. It is due to the severe austerity and full determination of the son of King Uttanapada, who is now fully absorbed in thought of me. He has obstructed the universal breathing process. You can safely return to your respective homes. I shall stop this boy in his severe acts of austerities, and you will be saved from this situation."
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
The demigods, according to the Krishna book, the demigods cannot approach the Lord directly. They first of all go to Brahma, then they will approach the shore of that.
Yeah, milk ocean.
And there they begin the process of the prayers, and then the Lord answers, and then not directly but to Lord Brahma.
Yeah.
Here we see that the demigods are directly praying to the
Lord.
and Lord is reciprocating directly.
So, Prabhu, like in Bhagavatam, all these pastimes are mentioned. Only for a particular pastime, what is relevant, that is taken. For the appearance of Lord Krishna, that was relevant. They all went to the Kshir Sagar, meditated, and then it was their Lord, supplied that knowledge in the heart of Brahma, that at all the demigods, tell all the demigods to appear in the family of Vrishnis, Yadus, and then I am going to appear. So, as per the pastime, the description is there. In Bhagavatam, we cannot expect all the minor details. For a particular relevant pastime, what has to be stressed upon? The main point here is austerities of Dhruv Maharaj, the character of Dhruv Maharaj. So these are all side details. Yes, from Vaishnava Maharaj. Yeah.
So right now you were comparing Srila Prabhupada and Dhruv Maharaj.
Yeah.
How they take the word.
Yeah.
So now why are these demigods feeling perturbed? Why are they not feeling happy?
Yeah.
Like Prabhupada made everybody happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody went to somewhere that Prabhupada standard and we are feeling perturbed.
Yeah. Yes. So this was temporary. When Hiranyakashipu performed austerity, then also everyone was disturbed. Everything started blazing up. So, because he performed austerity with a malicious purpose, so everyone was disturbed. But here he performed austerity just for pleasing the Lord. The Lord assured them, don't worry, it's no danger. I'll just tell this boy to stop austerities. Dhruv Maharaj's purpose was not there to scare everyone. It just happened. He was innocent, was just following the process. And the process worked wonderfully. So he was not aware that he is affecting the demigods and they are in problem. That. Yeah.
Like we say, Kaitav Dharma.
Kaitav Dharma.
So Kaitav Dharma, this worshipping Narayan for material benefits.
Yeah.
This is not Kaitav Dharma. My understanding.
Yeah. Worshipping Narayana is, it's not Kaitav Dharma.
For material thing is not Kaitav. So that's why this is also included in Bhagavatam.
Yeah. And how he is purified, how Lord reciprocates. How we'll see that Dhruv Maharaj will become a pure devotee. So Bhagavatam describes the glories of Bhakti, Bhakt and Bhagavan. Glory of Bhakti is also there, glory of Bhakti is also there, glory of Bhagavan is also there. So Dhruv Maharaj, devotional service was not a Hetuki Apratihata. It was Hetuki. But because he performed Apratihata, it became Ahetuki. He performed Apratihata, consistency. So consistency is very important. Even if you are performing devotional service, not with a pure intention, but we perform the process perfectly, the process is so powerful, it will purify our intentions. Yeah. He was worshipping demigods. He was worshipping Brahmaji. He was not worshipping Krishna. That is the difference between the worship of Krishna and devotional service only performed for Krishna only. Demigods are worshipped. Devotional service is only for Krishna.
Even if the process is same.
It was not, how can you say it was same? He was chanting Om Brahmana Namah. He was chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So the demons don't want to purify.
Yeah, they don't want to purify. So he just followed the instructions of Narad Muni because he was very consistent in his approach. And while performing the process, he was not bothered. Milega ki nahi milega, no doubts, no fickle mind. Just following the process. The process is so powerful, it worked upon him, it purified him. Okay. So Prabhupada also writes in NOI verse 3, devotional service is so perfect that it drags one to perfection. So if you're just performing the process, it will drag us to perfection, even if we don't want it. All of us have been dragged here. Few years back, we never imagined we'll be doing bhakti. We'll be reading Bhagavatam, we'll take initiation, we'll shave off our head. We never imagined that. We'll leave our jobs. So we have been dragged into devotional path. हाँ तो आगे थे सबने बोला थोड़ा करो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Just add Krishna in your life. जो कर रहे हो करो, बस चैंटिंग करो, कुछ नहीं, बस कुछ करते करते हो गया सब. So that is how Krishna is so powerful, bhakti is so powerful, right? Okay. So all the demigods were afraid. The last few lines. Okay, last paragraph. By pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one pleases everyone. It's your question is being answered. Just as by watering the root of a tree, one satisfies every branch, twig and leaf of the tree. If one can attract the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one naturally attracts the whole universe, because Krishna is the supreme cause of the universe. All the demigods were afraid of being totally vanquished by suffocation, but the Personality of Godhead assured them that Dhruv Maharaj was a great devotee of the Lord and was not about to annihilate everyone in this universe. A devotee is never envious of other living entities. Okay? Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 4th canto, 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Dhruv Maharaj leaves home for the forest. Okay? 9th chapter, Dhruv Maharaj returns home. Maitre Ovacha Taeva Mutsan Bhaya Urukrame Kritavanama Prayustri Vishtapam Sahasta Shisha Pitato Gurutmata Madhor Vanam Bhratir Didikshaya Gata.
The great sage Maitreya told Vidura, when the demigods were thus reassured by the personality of Godhead, they were freed from all fears, and after offering their obeisances, they returned to their heavenly planets. Then the Lord, who is not different from the Sahasra Sirsha incarnation, got on the back of Garuda, who carried him to the Madhuvan forest to see his servant Dhruva.
Yeah. Madhovanam Bhratir Didakshaya Gata. You know? So Lord was so impressed. Lord has to go to take darshan of Dhruv Maharaj. Normally devotee comes to take darshan of the Lord. But Dhruv Lord was so impressed by his service. Like Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Thakur Maharaj says, do not try to see the God. Perform service in such a manner that God wants to see you. So God wanted to see Dhruv Maharaj. Okay. So in the purport, according to Srila Sanatana Goswami in his Bhagavatamrit, the Sahastra Sheesh personality of Godhead who appeared at that time was incarnation known as Prishni Garbh. He created the planet known as Dhruvaloka for the habitation of Dhruv Maharaj. Savedhiya yoga vipaka tivraya hritpadma koshe sfuritam tadit prabham tirohitam sah savopalakshaya bahi sthitam tad avastham dadadusha. Yeah. Dhruv Maharaj is there? Dhruv Loka will come. Dhruv Loka is as good as Vaikuntha. It will come.
Translation. The form of the Lord, which was brilliant like lightning, and in which Dhruv Maharaj, in his mature yogic process, was fully absorbed in meditation, all of a sudden disappeared. Thus, Dhruva was perturbed and his meditation broke. But as soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally present, just as he had been seeing the Lord in his heart.
Yeah, okay. So, He was seeing the Lord in his heart, that is also mercy of the Lord, but now he is seeing the Lord before his eyes. That is the greater mercy of the Lord. Okay? So last few lines, this Shyam Sundar form of the Lord within the heart.
This Shyam Sundar form of the Lord within the heart of a devotee is not imaginary. When a devotee becomes mature in his prosecution of devotional service, he sees face to face the same Shyam Sundar he has thought of during the entire course of his devotional service. Since the Supreme Lord is absolute, the form within the heart of a devotee, the form in the temple, and in the original form in Vaikuntha, Vrindavan Dham, are all the same. They are not different from one another.
Yeah. So this is the importance of deity worship. If you are worshipping Govindji, we are meditating upon him. It is the same form which is in the Golok Dham. Same form. Okay. Tadarshana gata sadva sakshitav avanad tangam vinmayaya dandavat digbhyam pravashyan prapiban ivabhrakas chumban ivasena bhujair ivashishlisan.
When Dhruv Maharaj saw his Lord just in front of him, he was greatly agitated and offered him obeisances and respect. He fell flat before him like a rod and became absorbed in love of Godhead. Dhruva Maharaj in ecstasy looked upon the Lord as if he were drinking the Lord with his eyes, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord with his mouth, and embracing the Lord with his arms.
Yeah. No? So Dhruv Maharaj not knowing how to respond, he just offered him obeisances and was drinking. Purport, please.
Naturally, when Dhruv Maharaj personally saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, he was very much agitated in awe and respect, and it appeared as if he were drinking the entire body of the Lord with his eyes. The devotee's love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so intense that he wants to kiss the lotus feet of the Lord constantly, and he wants to touch the tips of the toes of the Lord and constantly embrace his lotus feet. All these features of Dhruv Maharaj's bodily expression indicate that upon seeing the Lord face to face, he developed the 8 kinds of transcendental ecstasy in his body.
Yeah. Satam vivakshantam atadvidam harir gyātvasya sarvasya cha hridi avasthita kritāņjalim brahmayena kambuna pasparsha balam kripaya kapole.
Although Dhruv Maharaj was a small boy, he wanted to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in suitable language. But because he was inexperienced, he could not adjust himself immediately. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, could understand Dhruv Maharaj's awkward position. Out of his causeless mercy, he touched his concept to the forehead of Dhruv Maharaj, who stood before him with folded hands.
Yeah. So, satam vivakshantam. Vivakshantam means he wanted to offer prayers. Atadvidam, but he was not aware how to offer. But Lord, Gyatvasya Sarva Cha Hridaya Avasthita. The Lord could understand everything because he is situated in the heart. Dhruv Maharaj was standing Kritāņjalim with folded hands. Then Lord did what? Brahma Mayena Kambuna Pasparsha Balam Kripaya Kapole. Kambuna means the conch shell. It's Brahma. The Lord just touched that child's forehead out of mercy with this conch shell. Okay? Yeah. Purport, please.
Every devotee wants to chant the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Devotees are always interested in hearing about the Lord's transcendental qualities, and they are always eager to glorify these qualities. But sometimes they feel inconvenienced by humbleness. The personality of Godhead being situated in everyone's heart, specifically gives a devotee intelligence to describe him. It is therefore understood that when a devotee writes or speaks about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his words are dictated by the Lord from within. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter. To those who constantly engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord from within dictates what to do next in order to serve him. When Dhruv Maharaj felt hesitant, not knowing how to describe the Lord for want of sufficient experience, the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, touched his conscience to Dhruv's opponent, and he was transcendently inspired. This transcendental inspiration is called Brahma Maya because when one is thus inspired, the sound he produces exactly corresponds to the sound of vibration of the Vedas. This is not the ordinary sound vibration of this material world. Therefore, the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna mantra, although presented in the ordinary alphabet, should not be taken as mundane or material.
Yeah. So one thing is willingness, another is ability. So we should have willingness. The abilities and all the facilities will be given by the Lord. Jiva, living entity, is too small, too insignificant. But we have only one power, that is willpower. So if we have the right will, Krishna will show us the way. That's why it says, where there is a will, there is a way. Okay? So we may not have skills, we may not have abilities. Dhruv Maharaj didn't know the grammar. Vishwanath Thakur was saying he didn't know the grammar. He was not educated enough, trained enough how to glorify the Lord. He didn't have any experience. But he had the right desire. He wanted to glorify the Lord. So the Lord provided him all the facilities, gave him all intelligence. So as a devotee, our main purpose should be to have the right kind of will, right kind of desires. So that willingness comes by association of devotees, by purification. So if we are rightly associating with sincere devotees, so then we are able to have a good use, a right use of our free will. Okay. Prabhupada had the willingness to satisfy his guru. All the facilities were provided by the Lord. We all know that Prabhupada had darshan of Rupa Goswami in Radha Damodar temple. And Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada assured him, you please go. Your preaching will be successful. But it was not immediate. Prabhupada had to struggle. Why Prabhupada had to struggle? Because Krishna wanted to glorify Prabhupada. If everything would have come so easily, we wouldn't have understood the greatness of Prabhupada. Krishna could have arranged air tickets also for Prabhupada. But Krishna arranged only tickets from Jaldut and on the way 2 heart attacks also. So that made him more glorified. If he would have got the air ticket from Air India, safely landed in America, no problem. And there's no thrill. No, we couldn't understand. We could have understand the greatness of Prabhupada, how determined he was, how much he sacrificed. Okay, so we should only focus on having the right will. And whenever we are speaking something, Krishna can speak through us. Any living entity can be empowered. One can make an instrument for the change of hearts. If you are fully surrendered to the will of Lord, to Guru Maharaj, to our spiritual master, so we can just pray, let the right words come from my mouth. So the right words will come out. And sometimes we are prepared very nicely for the lecture, but if you are not in proper consciousness, although you are speaking, but there won't be any change in the heart. And sometimes you are not well prepared somehow, but you are trying your best, praying. So right words come out with the right modulation, right examples, everything will come out. So it's Krishna who is doing from inside. So in that way. And sometimes we may have ability, but no will. There are many drama actors are there. Many professional reciters are there. They can recite Srimad Bhagavatam very nicely. But there is no proper will to please Krishna or Guru Parampara. Okay? So as a devotee, we should just focus that I should have a right desire. So all the abilities, facilities, strength, mental strength, intellectual strength, bodily strength will be provided by Krishna. Right?
Why Bhakti is not purifying these reciters?
Why Bhakti is? Because their faith is distorted.
Faith is distorted.
They have malicious intentions.
Malicious intentions.
Yeah.
They don't have true intentions.
They don't have true intentions. They have malicious. They want to compete with Krishna. They don't have right faith. If we have weak faith, that can be strengthened. But if we are like Mayavadis also chant the holy names, but they want to become Lord. They want to become Krishna.
What mantra they chant?
Same, they can chant any mantra. They worship Krishna also.
But there are many speakers who speak the Bhagavatam in so much, like we usually see such people talking about Bhagavatam and the reciters Bhagavatam. It appears as if they are speaking with so much faith and the bhajan kind of thing that they do. But
We cannot generalize, Mataji. To generalize that will be an offense. But normally we see from this hearing from professional reciters, don't bring any change of heart. Normally we see that. And our new devotee from ISKCON goes, with one lecture, first session of 7-day session, people give up all bad habits. This is the potency of Guru Parampara. They charge lakhs and lakhs of rupees, no change of heart. And from here a new devotee goes, the whole atmosphere gets changed. This is the potency. Right? Yes, Prabhu.
Can you also understand that apparently we see it is not purifying either the reciter or the listeners, but anyway some sukriti will be there for the speaker as well as the listeners.
Yeah.
And long run, maybe next life they'll get purified. I can relate to this because personally, before I came to Krishna consciousness, I got attracted by a couple of completely materialistic, not materialistic, but जैसे सागर बंधु अगर आपको नाम सुना सर, वो भजन करते थे, तो उससे थोड़ा सा एक स्पार्क हुआ, फिर करते करते भक्तों का संग.
Yeah. Sukriti is always there, depending on their intentions. But they are taking Krishna's name.
अगर इंटेंशन से ही नहीं भी हो, तो भी क्योंकि नाम तो भगवान का समूह ले रहे हैं.
Our intentions means, if they have material intentions to earn money, that's not a problem. But if you are taking, there is no form of the Lord, then it's difficult. They may be Sahijya, no problem. Sahijyas are still better than Mayavadis. If they acknowledge the personal form of the Lord, and then we are his part and parcel. But just for earning money, they are doing this, okay, then we get some Sukriti. But if they have this intention, then. So we cannot generalize, like I said. Right?
Which also means we may not know.
We may not
There's
know.
So many reciters we may not know.
Yeah. So we generally respect them, but we don't fall in their trap. Saveta Deipati Padatam Pratipaditam Giram Devim Parigyat Paratma Nirne Tam Bhakti Bhavo Abhigranad Asatvaram Parishrutoru Shavasatam Dhruvakshiti.
At that time, Dhruva Maharaj became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion and understood the absolute truth and his relation with all living in accordance with the line of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, whose fame is widespread. Dhruv, who is in the future, could receive a planet which could never be annihilated even during the time of resurrections. Offered his deliberate and conclusive prayers.
Yes. Savai Tadaivet. At that time only, the moment the Lord touched the conch shell, at that time only, the Dhruva got all the knowledge. Devim Parigyata Paratma Nirnay. He got the all-conclusive truth. Nirnay, Paratma. Who is Lord? Who am I? What is the relationship? Tam Bhakti Bhavo. Then with Bhakti Bhavo, Abhigranad Asatvaram. He started without any hasty conclusions. Pari Shrutoru Shavatam Dhruvakshati. He started glorifying the Lord. Okay. So Prabhupada is writing in between, fourth line. Dhruva Maharaj never went to any school or academic teacher to learn the Vedic conclusion, but because of his devotional service to the Lord, as soon as the Lord appeared and touched his forehead with his conch shell, automatically the entire Vedic conclusion was revealed to him. This is the process of understanding the Vedic literature. One cannot understand it simply by academic learning. Okay. So similarly, last second paragraph, can you please read the example?
The example of Guru Maharaj is that he engaged himself in devotional service to the Lord according to the order of his spiritual master, Narad Muni. As a result of his rendering such devotional service with great determination and austerity, the personality of a Godhead personally manifested himself before him. Dhruv was only a child. He wanted to offer nice prayer to the Lord, but because he lacked sufficiently knowledge, he hesitated, but by the mercy of Lord, as soon as the Lord's concern touched his forehead, he became completely aware of the Vedic culture.
Yeah, okay. Similarly, when we see Prahlad Maharaj was about to pacify Lord Narsimhadev, all the demigods, Brahmaji, even Lakshmiji couldn't satisfy Lord Narsingh. Then Brahmaji said to Prahlad Maharaj, you go and satisfy the Lord. And before starting the prayers, if you see this verse, 7, 9, 12, you know, it's a very nice verse. We can remember this verse also, 7, 9, 12. You can memorize this verse. You know, it says 7, 9, 12. तस्मादहं विगतविकल्प ईश्वरस्य सर्वात्मना महि गृह्णामि यथा मनीषं नीचो अज्य गुणविसर्गम् अनुप्रविष्टा पूयेत येन पुमान् अनुवर्णितेन. He says, Tasmad aham vigat vikalva Ishwarasya. Aham vigat vikalva. I will give up the contemplation of being unfit. Sarvatmana, with all surrenderness, mahi grinami, I will glorify. Yatha manisham, as much as my intelligence allows me. Although I am bound in low family, guna vasargam anupravishta, but by glorifying you, I am purifying myself. Okay. So, this should be the mood of all of us when we are going for preaching and going for glorification of the Lord. I am unqualified, but I will do my best as per my intelligence to purify myself. I am low born. I am gun visarga anupravishta. I am deeply into the modes of nature. But whatever my intelligence allows, I am trying to glorify to the best of my ability, okay, to purify myself. So that way. And then second and the last 7, 8 lines. Dhruv Maharaj attained this perfection not by acting hastily, but by patiently executing the order of his spiritual master. And therefore he became so successful that he saw the Lord face to face. Now he was further enabled by the causeless mercy of the Lord to offer fitting prayers to the Lord. To glorify or offer prayers unto the Supreme, one needs the Lord's mercy. One cannot write or glorify the Lord unless one is endowed with His causeless mercy. Okay. You know, when the Lord Shiva gave instructions to Prachetas, and the Prachetas entered within the water for performing austerities for 10,000 years, then there is a verse in 24th chapter. They worship the instructions of Lord Shiva. Dhyayanto pujanto. This is verse number 4, 24, 15. If you can see that. Yeah. Fourth canto, 24th chapter, verse number 15. Yaguktam pathi drishtena girishena prasidata tadhyayanto japantascha pujantascha samayata. When all the sons of Prachin Bhari left home to execute austerities, they met Lord Shiva, who out of great mercy instructed them about the absolute truth. All the sons of the Prachin Bhari meditated upon the instructions, chanting and worshipping them with great care and attention. Okay? So whatever instructions we receive, we should meditate upon the instructions, we should chant those instructions, we should worship that instruction with great care and attention. Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Why there is so much of time difference, like for the Prachetas it took 10,000 years, and for Dhruv Maharaj just 5 months?
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah. You can't lodge a case, कोर्ट केस नहीं कर सकते. Lord's will. आगे आप पढ़ेंगे 8th कैंटो में, वामन देव appeared within 6 days. अदिति को बोला करो, 6 नहीं 12 दिनों में, शायद 12 दिनों में. So it depends. Krishna's will, free will. Yes, Mukund Archana.
Intensity of sadhaka also?
नहीं, वो तो पानी के अंदर कर रहे थे बेचारे. Place also matters. Dhruv Maharaj was in Vrindavan, Madhuban. Kartika month, it was Kartik. Kartik also came during that time.
Just depends in the morning, that strong desire.
Strong desire. Strong desire. Yeah. Okay. Dhruva Vacha. Now Dhruv Maharaj's prayers are there. Very beautiful prayers. Yonta Pravishya Mama Vacham Imam Prasuptam Sanjeevayanti Akhil Shakti Dhara Swadhamna Anyanscha Hascharan Shavanan Tvagadina Prananan Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam.
Guru Maharaj said, "My dear Lord, you are all powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, legs, ears, touch, sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you."
Yeah. So by your internal potency, you have enlivened me. My hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force. I am feeling enlivened. So this is how, when one advances in Krishna consciousness, all his senses become enlivened. They become spiritualized. Otherwise, if one is not engaged in Krishna consciousness, even though he is awake, he is sleeping. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. So, Prabhupada is writing in the first, second, third paragraph, and the end, 7-8 lines. In this verse, therefore, the word Swadhamana means by spiritual energy. Spiritual enlightenment is possible by the mercy of the spiritual energy of the Lord. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is first addressed to the spiritual energy of the Lord Hare. The spiritual energy acts when a living entity fully surrenders and accepts his position as an eternal servitor. When a person places himself at the disposal or the order of the Supreme Lord, that is called Sevan Mukha. At that time, the spiritual energy gradually reveals the Lord to him. Okay. Last paragraph, we can read. We have the mic. Last paragraph.
Without revelation by the supreme energy, one is unable to offer prayers glorifying the Lord. Any amount of philosophical speculation or poetic expression by a mundane person is still considered to be the action and action of the material energy. When one is actually enlivened by the spiritual energy, all his senses become purified and he engages only in the service of the Lord. At that time, his hands, legs, ears, tongue, mind, genitals, everything engage in the service of the Lord. Such an enlightened devotee no longer has any material activities, nor has he any interest in being materially engaged. This process of purifying the senses and engaging them in the service of the Lord is known as bhakti or devotional service. In the beginning, the senses are engaged by the direction of the spiritual master and Shastra, and after realization, when the same senses are purified, the engagement continues. The difference is that in the beginning the senses are engaged in a mechanical way, but after realization they are engaged in spiritual understanding.
Yeah. Ekastam Bhagavan idamatma shaktya maya khayaru gunaya mahadadya shesham shishtvanuvishya purushas tadasad ganesho nane vadarushu vibhasi.
My Lord, you are the Supreme One, but by your different energies, you appear differently in the spiritual and material world. You create the total energy of the material world by your external potency, and after creation, you enter within the material world as the super soul. You are the Supreme Person, and through the comparative modes of material nature, you create varieties of manifestation just as fire, entering into wood of different shapes, burn brilliantly in a different variety.
So in the previous verse, he was talking of the spiritual energy. In this verse, now he's talking about the Maya potency, Maya Akhya. Okay. So, Prabhupada is explaining it is the same energy. Actually, it is one energy only. How we use it, it becomes spiritual or material. If you use it for our own purpose, it becomes material. If you use it in the Krishna service, it becomes spiritual. Okay. So, Dhruv Maharaj could understand all the difference between energy and energetic. So Prabhupada is writing last few lines. The original energy inspires a devotee. Thus he engages all his bodily limbs in the service of the Lord. The same energy as external potency engages the ordinary non-devotees in material activities for sense enjoyment. We should mark the difference between Maya and Swadham. For the devotees, the Swadham acts, whereas in the case of non-devotees, the Maya energy acts. Okay. Tadvattaya vayunadayam achashta vishvam supta prabhuddha evnat bhavat prapanna tasyap vargaya sharanam tava pada moolam vismiryate kritvira katham artha bandho.
O my master, Brahma is fully surrendered to you. In the beginning, you gave him knowledge, and thus he could see and understand the entire universe, just as a person awakens from the sleep and visualizes his immediate duties. You are the only shelter of the persons who desire liberation, and you are the friend of all who are distressed. How, therefore, can a learned person who has perfect knowledge ever forget you?
Yeah. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining that in this verse, Dhruv Maharaj is describing three kinds of devotees. Chaturvida bhajante mam, jana sukritamajino, artho jigyasi, artharthi, gyani cha pardarshava. So in this verse he is describing about jigyasu, arti and gyani. For the gyani, the Lord gives them the knowledge, like Brahmaji and Char Kumar. By that knowledge, they can see the world. For the jigyasu, Lord gives them the liberation. They are seeking liberation. And for the distressed, he is Arth Bandhu. He is the friend of the distressed. So this is his explaining. So knowing this, no intelligent person will never like to forget the Lord. Okay. So Prabhupada is writing in the purport, the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be forgotten even for a moment by his surrendered devotees. The devotee understands that the Lord's causeless mercy is beyond his estimation, and he cannot know how much he is benefited by the grace of the Lord. The more a devotee engages himself in devotional service of the Lord, the more encouragement is supplied by the energy of the Lord. Very powerful lines. So more we engage in the service of the Lord, more encouragement is supplied by the energy of the Lord. Tesham satajuktanam bhajatam priti purukam dadami buddhi yogam tam yen maam priyantate. So being so encouraged, the devotee can never forget at any moment the personality of Godhead. He always feels obliged to him for having achieved increased power in devotional service by his grace. So this is a wonderful relationship, how the Lord reciprocates with the devotee, and the devotee will never forget the Lord. He always feels encouraged, and all this encouragement is coming by the Lord only.
Can you repeat this?
Yeah. So Lord, to the Jnani, Lord gives him the vision so that he can see the world. To the Jnani. For the Jigyasi, he gives liberation. In this verse, Dhruv Maharaj is praying like this. It's not the principle I am studying. In this verse, Dhruv Maharaj is praying like this. And Arth Bandhu is a friend of the distressed. He is praying like this. Okay. Verse number 9. So, Nunam vimushmatya stavamaya ye tvam bhavapyaya vimokshanam anya hetu archanti kalpak tarum kunapabhyagyam icchanti yat sparshjam nirye pinirnam.
Worship your simply for sense gratification of this bag of skin are certainly influenced by your illusionary energy. In spite of having you, who are like a desired tree and are a cause of liberation from birth and death, foolish persons, such as me, desire benediction from you for sense gratification, which is available even for those who live in hellish conditions.
So now he is repenting that out of these 4 types, I am the worst. Artho is also good, Jigyasu is also good, Jnani is also good, but I am the worst type. I approach you for material wealth, But you have wonderful qualities. You are Kalpak Tarum. You are like a desired tree. You could have given me anything. You are Bhavapyaya Vimokshanam. You can give liberation also. But of who am I? Vimushta Matya Tava Mayate. I lost my intelligence being influenced by your illusory energy. So that what I am wanting Icchanti Yat Sparshajam. I am wanting some sense gratification, which is available in hell also. Niryapi Niranam. So he is repenting. I am the Vimushta Chetasa. Right? Okay. Purport, please.
Dhruv Maharaj repented because he had come to the Lord to render devotional service for material profit. He here condemns his attitude. Only due to gross lack of knowledge does one worship the Lord for material profit or for sense gratification. The Lord is like a desire tree. Anyone can have whatever he desires from the Lord, but people in general do not know what kind of benediction they should ask from him. Happiness derived from such touch of the skin or sensuous happiness is present in life of hogs and dogs. Such happiness is very insignificant. If a devotee worships the Lord for such insignificant happiness, he must be considered devoid of all knowledge.
Yeah. But still Krishna says they are all glorious. They all are pious. They are coming to him. Okay. 10th. So, Ya nevritas tanubratam tavapad padma dhyanad bhavajjan katha shravanena vasyat sa brahmani swamahimani apinath mabhut kim tu antakakshi lulitat patitam vimanat.
My Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from meditating upon your lotus feet or hearing about your glories from you is so unlimited that it is far beyond the stage of Brahma, wherein one think himself merged in the impersonal Brahma as one with the Supreme. Since Brahmanand is also defeated by the transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, then what to speak of the temporary blissfulness of elevating oneself to the heavenly planets, which is ended by the separating sword of time. Although one may be elevated to the heavenly planets, he falls down in due course of time.
Yeah. So, the previous verse he said, I am such a fool that I ask some material benefit from you. You can provide liberation. You are like a desire tree. So the Lord is saying, okay, you mean to say that ultimate benefit of approaching me is liberation? And he says, no, not even that. He says, Ya nivartis tanu bhrata. For any embodied person who has got a body, tanu bhritam, there are 2 ways of getting happiness. One is pad padma dhyanat, by focusing on your lotus feet. And second is bhavajan katha shravanen, hearing your katha from your devotees. Okay? These 2 things give us a real bliss. And the bliss of Brahmanand is nothing in comparison to this bliss. And the what to talk of so-called bliss of going to heavenly planets. So in this verse, he is glorifying devotional service. Okay, so the ultimate purpose of approaching you should neither be attaining some material wealth or material planets or Brahmanand. We want to hear your glories and we want to focus on your lotus feet. So even after seeing the Lord, devotees are aspiring to hear about Krishna in association of devotees. Okay, so hearing about Krishna is more auspicious than seeing Krishna. Is more blissful. When the Prachetas also had the darshan of the Lord, the Prachetas said, you are Ananta. So we want Ananta benediction from you. What is Ananta benediction from you? Hearing your Ananta glories. He is seeing you, it's okay. But more blissful is hearing your glories. In all the Bhagavatam you will see like this. Wherever the devotees have darshan of the Lord, They say we want association of devotees so that we can hear your glories in the association of devotees. Because if we have your association only, we won't be able to hear your glories. You won't say your glories. So your glories are more blissful when we hear from your Bhavajjana Katha.
They are non-different.
They are non-different, but Katha. Even Lord also relishes his own, hearing his own glories. That way. Okay, we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.